Hey, what's up? It's David L. Gray here from davidlgray.info. Doing a quick follow-up video here about a video I did some time ago talking about why Catholics cannot be Freemasons. In that video, I talked about my experience in Freemasonry, and I talked about as when I was an agnostic, how Freemasonry became my religion because it had a moral law for me, and it also had some sort of path by which I could follow to achieve life after death. Okay, so, and I talked about in the video how also Freemasonry has just the basic constructs, the basic marks of what a religion is. A syncretic religion, to be sure, meaning that it incorporates other elements of religions into its religion, but definitely a religion because it does have just the three basic character marks, which is it has a God, it has a moral law, and it offers a path by which a man can follow to achieve some sort of life after death. So now in that video, in the comments section, some of you got down in the comments, which I appreciate, but you basically disagreed with me, saying I was wrong. Some of you got kind of rude and kind of disrespectful with the whole thing. And basically none of you offered any sort of reason or logic. You basically said I was wrong, and then you try to attack character. I get that. That's fine. I get that why people who belong to religion and who are also Freemasons, I understand why you have to say that Freemasonry is not a religion, because it creates some sort of conflict and struggle within you. Because if you belong to religion, if you're a Christian, you're a Jew, or you're a Muslim, definitely monotheistic religions, but you're also a Freemason, well, you can't resolve that. You can't reconcile that because your religion is offering a path to some sort of salvation, and Freemasonry is offering a different path. And those two paths can't be reconciled. I get that. I get the struggle. I get why you have to say that Freemasonry isn't a religion if you're a Christian, Jew, or Muslim. I get that. Okay. But I'm about to push back a little harder to force you into the issue here a little deeper, to really think about this thing and to struggle with this thing a little harder. Okay, to really come up with some answers. And I look forward to you jumping back into the comment section again, this time to offer some reason and logic and push back with some true intelligence instead of just character attacks and logical fallacies. Okay, so let's take a look at Anderson's Constitution from 1723. Now, back up a little bit. In 1717, the Grand Lodge in England was first established. Okay, the first Grand Lodge system where these lodges got together and said, okay, let's form a Grand Lodge. They needed a constitution. Like any organization that's going to start, needs a constitution that's going to standardize its practices and say, okay, this is what we believe, this is what we stand for, this is the norm. Okay, now Anderson's Constitution, which was really first compiled in 1720 by a man by name of George Payne. Okay, but in 1723 they were compiled by this Reverend James Anderson, and then they were also reprinted in the United States in 1733 by Benjamin Franklin, which really became the first Masonic book published in North America. So this is Anderson's Constitution. It comes from, like I said, the old charges. It's the Constitution of Freemasonry is what it was originally called. This is the basis upon which Freemasonry is established, and this is what's norm. This is what's normal in Freemasonry. This is the practices. These are the standards. Okay, so let's take a look at the very first article of Anderson's Constitution from 1723. This article is concerning God and religion, and it's eerily similar, not by coincidence, by the way, to the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, also concerning God and religion. So let's take a look at it here. Number 1, concerning God and religion. A Mason is obliged by his tenure, that is, obligated by his tenure, to obey the moral law. And if he rightly understands the art, he will never be a stupid atheist nor an irreligious libertine. Though through in ancient times, Masons were charged in every country to be of the religion of that country or nation, whatever it was, yet 'tis now thought more expedient only to oblige, that is, obligate them to that religion in which all men agree. Pause. So here, clearly, the Masonic order is obligating men, obligating their members to forsake their own religion of their nation or country in obligating them to that religion in which all men agree. What is this religion that all men agree? Okay, because it's clearly not Christianity, it's not Judaism, it's not Islam. But so what is Freemasonry obligating men to belong to? Obligating them to belong to this religion in which all men agree? What is this? Let's continue. Leaving their particular opinions to themselves. So here, Freemasonry is elevating this religion which all men agree and subordinating to that men's opinions. Okay, their own personal beliefs about God, okay, is under that. Let's continue. That is, it's going to point to the moral law here, the law that it mentioned above, that Masons to obey the moral law. It's saying that is to be good men and true, or men of honor and honesty by whatever denominations or persuasions they may be distinguished, whereby Masonry becomes the center of union and the means of facilitating true friendship among persons that have remained at a perpetual distance. So if you're a Christian, at least this may be true for Islam and Judaism as well, but specifically if you're a Christian, this first article of this Constitution, just in the second part, is big. This is a conflict because as Christians, we believe that Christ Jesus is the center of union by which all men agree and who facilitates true friendship, sacrificial friendship that Christ Jesus taught. That's him himself, his church and his grace through Christ is what is the center of union of all men. Christ Jesus did not teach that Freemasonry is to become the center of union and it means facilitating true friendship. No, Christ said himself and through him, his church and his grace. All right. So even the second part is very problematic, but in the first part that this universal religion that all men agree, I'm confused here. How can you say you belong to religion yet now you belong to a religion that clearly says in its constitution that you're obligated to belong to that religion which this organization is professing and that it is establishing. So this is problematic. Just this first charge, this first article of the Constitution of Freemasonry. But let's continue. Now, I told you the moral law of Freemasonry is a big deal. And Freemasonry, Masonic behavior is a big deal. Masons should act like Masons or there's consequences. You'll get kicked out, you get suspended, you get expelled. So as we go down in Anderson's Constitution, they start to get into this topic, this article talking about Masonic behavior. Now, the second article in this section is called Behavior After the Lodge is Over and the Brethren Are Gone. Let's take a look at this and see what it says about this universal religion of Freemasonry. Number 2, behavior after the lodge is over and the brethren not gone. Okay, so the Masonic meeting is formally closed, but the brethren are still mingling around in the lodge. It says, you may enjoy yourself with innocent mirth, treating one another according to ability, but avoiding all excess, or forcing any brother to eat or drink beyond his inclination, or hindering him from going when his occasion call him, or doing or saying anything offensive or that may forbid an easy and free conversation, for that would blast our harmony and defeat our laudable purpose. Therefore, no private pics or quarrels must be brought within the door of the lodge. Pause there for a moment. So far, everything sounds great. This Masonic moral law sounds awesome. It's addressing really just the cardinal virtues of temperance and prudence, right? Just keeping everything within those due bounds. That's great. More people should do this everywhere in society, right? Avoid all excess. Don't fight. Okay. But let's continue. Let's continue here. Back up. Therefore, no pics or quarrels must be brought within the door of the lodge, far less any quarrels about religions or nations or state policy. We being as only Masons of the universal religion mentioned above, we are also of all nations, tongues, kindreds, and nations, and are resolved against all politics as would never conducted to the welfare lodge nor ever will. So again, Freemasonry here is subordinating your religions, whatever nation, state policy, whatever you're bringing into the lodge as a man. It's subordinating that to this idea of there being a universal religion that's above all that, that's greater than all that. That, again, is that center of union by which all men agree. So right here in black and white, you've seen, you've read, you've heard that Freemasonry itself calls it a universal religion. So it's not just David L. Gray saying it, okay? It's not me just laying out the logical case of Freemasonry having the character marks of religion. We've seen it for ourselves now, from the Constitution of Freemasonry, from the very beginning of this institution, that they had a constitution in which in itself, it calls itself, Freemasonry calls itself a universal religion. So my question to you, I like those of you you do belong to religion. You're a Christian, you're a Jew, you're a Muslim, and you belong to Freemasonry. I'd like to know, jump in the comment box, let me know, how do you reconcile that? I'm really curious to know, because when I was an agnostic and a Freemason, this wasn't an issue for me. I knew Anderson's Constitution, and I knew what it said about Freemasonry being a religion. But it wasn't an issue for me because, like I said, Freemasonry was my religion. I was an agnostic, but Freemasonry was my religion. It gave me what I needed. But how do you reconcile this conflict? Is this your issue for you, or is it not? And if it's not, tell me why, okay? Now, again, in the other video, you want to get into personal character attacks and all this and that. Okay, all right. Now let's just use some reason, logic. Just use your brain, okay? Use some intellect and explain to me why this isn't an issue for you. If your organization calls itself the universal religion, that it's offering is universal religion, and you belong to a religion, tell me why that isn't a conflict. Because I'm of the opinion that a person can belong to two religions at the same time. That just seems weird to me. And this is why the Catholic Church has always taught that Catholics cannot be Freemasons. Just for reasons like this. This is indifferentism. Freemasonry is offering a different path. It's not saying Christ and his church. It's saying that this universal brotherhood is a center of union, not Christ and his church. So for Catholics, this is a non-starter. But I'd like to hear from you. Jump in the comment box below and tell me why I'm wrong. So this has been David L. Gray. Make sure you guys visit me online at davidlgray.info. Make sure you follow me on all the social media platforms here. And as always, I'm looking forward to your comments below. And make sure you follow me. Follow this. Where's it at? Is it there? Right there. Make sure you subscribe so you get more updates to videos in the future. But until then, until next time, blessings and shalom to you and to yours.